this down a little bit. Thank you. What's up, folks? What cookout I'm going to? I wish I was going to a cookout. You know, here in Chicago, we have a tornado warning and a thunderstorm warning as well. So, which is hard to believe. Let me show you. Let's figure out how to turn this camera around. If you look outside my window, I don't see nothing, but here I am, just in the house, cute with nowhere to go. That scared me. This is Devin, y'all. Now, I'm going to ask y'all this. This has nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. However, Devin wants to cut his hair, y'all. Should I let him, is the question. Can't tell based on my energy. Basically, Darius, I don't know what to do in case of a tornado. So why worry? Just be right here. Thanks for stopping by.
Stop. Oh,
What? There's power in your hair, yes. Is it candy time? Thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, I've been trying to tell him not to cut it. And plus, you know, he and I feel like we bond through his hair because, you know, I've been the only one that has done his hair, with the exception of one of the person my niece did his hair one time. And, you know, I feel like it's my hair too. And I don't want to cut it. But he's getting older, so he's got to have some choice in his own life, I suppose. But y'all know me. We'll see how this goes. Anyways, I hope y'all are having a good Sunday. I'm having a good Sunday. I've been chilling, reading, meditating. I did yoga this morning. Not just like, you know, the 5 little sun salutations I do in the morning, but I did a full yoga session this morning. So my body feels good. My energy feels good. I don't know. Y'all feel good. How are y'all feeling today? What is on y'all minds? What's going on with y'all? Because today is really about you. I'm going to share something about myself, and I'm going to ask y'all a bunch of questions. And it's hot a little bit, so here I am. Yeah, barbershop, and that's the thing, finding the barber, taking him. I be thinking about stuff like that, because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you could go to the barbershop, but then also, hello, it snows out here, so you're going to be getting your hair cut in the snow? It has to be somewhere nearby that he can walk to, because I won't be going anywhere when it snows. But anyways, y'all, I have been, I'm going to let the playlist play. Usually, Instagram doesn't let me save the video if I have music in it. But we're going to see. I turned it down, so maybe they won't catch it. But anyways, I have just been, you know, vibing on a natural high, I guess, all week. Just because, you know, I'm finally, if y'all listen to the last episode of the podcast, episode 18, I was interviewing Bianca Beasley, who y'all should know and love. Follow her at Bianca Wright. But she was basically saying, you know, people do all this stuff, right? Like you go to the conferences, workshops, you follow this person, you buy this course, et cetera, you read all these books. And at some point, you know, God be like, okay, I'm gonna need you to start reading the books and start applying what you're reading, right? And so that has been me these past couple of weeks, really just applying everything. And so these are the books. Y'all have probably heard me talk about these books before. Boom. Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. She just, I think it's the 20th, 30th something anniversary, so she re-released it, and it has new stuff. I have the old version of the book. But this is like a textbook for women who want to, you know, get in touch with their feminine energy. So I have been reading this for about a year now because it's really like a textbook, and you really got to do stuff and create altars and wear certain colors and all kinds of stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of stuff, but I'm working through it. So this book has been helping me, Sacred Woman. Boom. And then this, I don't even know where this came from. I want to say somebody posted on Instagram. Anytime somebody posts books, I take a screenshot, and depending on how I'm feeling, I'll go add it to my Amazon cart. And then I have a book budget, so every month I buy a couple of books off of Amazon and also on my Audible. And somehow this ended up on my list, and I had it on my shelf, and I was actually supposed to read something else or actually I was reading something else. I was reading Rakim Sweat the Technique, which I'm gonna get back into. But this book was just calling out to me, like on the shelf. I walk past it. Out of all the books I have on my shelf, I walk past that shelf and I will always see this title. And it was like, read it, read it, read it. And I've been reading it. Y'all know I've been on this energy journey with my aura and repairing my inner child and all kind of stuff like that. So this book, I want to do a course based off of this book, just about energy, because y'all, this is real. It's so good. I had to text my best friend. I was like, look, you need to buy this book now, because I kept sending her like screenshots of pages in it. But everything about this book is just everything. And then of course my book club, I don't have the book in front of me, but we're reading The Vanishing Half, which is about passing, which all of this stuff is really about identity, y'all. I'm kind of obsessed with learning about, I am obsessed with knowing myself. I'm obsessed with knowing myself. And so if you saw my story, I posted this quote from a bunch of years ago that I posted on my Facebook, which is just saying that no one can tell you who you are, right? And when we start letting people tell us who we are, that's where we go wrong. And so me being obsessed with knowing myself is all about me being able to walk in my truth and in my purpose, and not allow anyone else to determine or dictate that for me. And so I'm not really feeling this song. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Give me a second. But that's what my journey is about, and that's what I'm sharing with y'all. I have work this week. I'm trying to do a better job of sharing more, and I'm going to be sharing a lot on my Patreon. That's primarily where I'm going to start blogging again, because I have started writing again. That's part of me reconnecting with my inner child. I probably said this years ago, somewhere on one of these lives, because I do a lot. But when I was younger, I really wanted to be a writer. That was like, I felt like that was my calling. Like I was going to write. And part of that came from me reading a lot and just reading from really good writers. And I'm like, man, I want to do that. Like, man, I have a story to tell. I want to write about people, and I want to share my life with people. And then, you grow up, bills, work, and I haven't yet found a way to have writing make sense in my life in a way that's not taken away from the things that keep this roof over my head. You know what I'm saying? And I never want to be one of those people that feels like I am working and doing what I want on the side, right? So all that to say, and part of me learning about myself and growing, like I've just been writing a lot more, writing poetry, writing articles, just things that come to mind. I've been journaling a lot, so I'm gonna start sharing that on my Patreon. So if you're not on my Patreon, you can click the link in my bio. That'll be available to people at any and all tiers. Just because, I don't know, I'm writing it. There's no point in keeping it for myself. So it's for y'all. The second book, Energetic Boundaries. And if y'all want, I'm so excited about this book. I will make a separate book club if y'all want to read this with me in partnership and go through it, and we're going to make it happen. Energetic Boundaries, Cindy Dale is the author. She has a bunch of other books too, but get this one for real, for sure. So with that being said, today I'm going to talk about you. Who are you? That's a question y'all can answer in the chat. Who are you? If you've ever been to school, I swear, like, teachers always, like, the first couple of days of school is always like, we're going to write a who am I poem. And like, what the hell? Because you're writing like, my favorite color is, I am from blah, blah, blah. And like, while those things are important, I don't really think those things make up who you are. And if y'all teachers out there, please stop doing that activity. It's not fun for the kids or anyone, really. It's just, it's one of those things. But anyways, all that to say, a lot of times we are asked to define ourselves, to describe who we are, to tell people about us. And I think, innate in that question is like, we just automatically know who we are, right? Like, we're not coming into this world a blank state. We're coming into this world, fully equipped and functional. We know who we are, and we got to figure out somehow what to do with all of this stuff, right? But a lot of people don't know who they are. Like, because we allow people to tell us who we are, right? Now, I was having this conversation with somebody, and they were talking about the post that I made about Usain Bolt. His wife gave birth to twins, and people were congratulating him on his twin sons, and this writer was like, no, these children are non-binary. You can't say that you have sons. What the hell, right? And this person was saying, well, if that's the case, then we all get to choose our gender. We get to choose our identity, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on that. I'm sure y'all know and understand, where I stand on that. But all of that to say, a lot of our early life are people telling us who we are, what our boundaries are, what we like and what we dislike, right? So another person, a friend of mine on Facebook posted, we're talking about soulmates, and he said that, it's almost criminal for people to think that their soulmate is going to be found in their hometown, right? And I was like, what? It's like we've watched so many movies and so many love stories. We have this idea, like The Notebook or whatever, like that we're going to fall in love with somebody we go to high school with, and just everything's just predetermined, right? But most of our life, a large part of our life, we don't have a choice in. Like, we don't get to choose our parents or the family we're born into, or where we live, or what schools we go to up until a certain point, right? And if you really want to, if you're really, determined to know yourself fully and know yourself best, you have to start taking risks to make different choices outside of what you've already been given, right? So let's say, for example, when it comes to food, right? Babies don't get to determine their food. The mom decides if they're getting breast milk or powdered milk. And then when we start introducing foods to babies, we don't say, hey, I want this baby to try some dragon fruit or whatever the case might be. The baby's going to eat what we eat. If we don't like pickles, that child probably won't ever have pickles. If we're vegetarians, that child probably won't ever have meat, right? Because we just give people what we've gotten or what we have, not necessarily what they want or what they need. So when it comes to really knowing yourself, we feel like, well, I've gotten what I'm going to get. Like, this is me. And maybe you've said that. This is me. This is how I am, right? And we don't look beyond that. We just accept things for what they are. However, when you go through life and encounter challenges and obstacles and things like that, you realize that some of the tools that other people gave you don't equip you for the challenges that you're going to face on your journey, right? As much as my parents loved me, right, they could not anticipate everything that I would struggle through, everything that I would feel, everything that would shape and determine my own life, right? They gave me the tools and skills. Maybe they didn't give them to me because they didn't know how, maybe because their parents didn't have the skills and they never figured out their way and their journey, but they've given me sort of what they've got, but that doesn't mean that is good for me, right? Are y'all with me? Right? So we start to, and I think sadly, I won't say sadly, but fortunately and unfortunately, we start to learn about ourselves when we encounter those challenges, when we hit rock bottom, when we are going through a depression, when we start to feel sadness, right, is where we realize that maybe we haven't fully experienced joy. When we hit a roadblock, we realize, you know what, maybe this isn't the route for me. Maybe I'm actually not comfortable with this. Maybe this is not what I want to do, right? When we start to encounter those challenges. But if everything's just flowing and moving, we think, okay, like, this is it. This is, this is the life for me. This is what is supposed to happen, right? Everything's predetermined, and, I'm following my path. I found my purpose, or what have you. But when we start to peel back those layers, right, and we sit and spend a lot of time with ourselves, right, this is why I say meditation is important. This is why I say journaling is important, because you're not going to get those things until you spend some time with yourself, right? I listened to this song. It's by Jamila Woods, and it's called Holy. It's on my Abundance playlist. And she says, I'm not lonely, I'm alone, right? And I've decided to put myself first. I woke up this morning and decided to love myself, right? I'm not lonely, I'm alone, right? I'm just by myself, physically, spiritually, whatever, but I'm not lonely because I found peace within myself, right? So how do you find that peace? Well, you have to know yourself and know what you like and what you don't. And that's going to come from you trying a bunch of things. I don't know how to do it without trial and error. Maybe somebody else got a course or a book and they could tell you how to do it, in 3 easy steps. But it's going to come through trial and error. It's going to come from trying things, even going after things you think you don't like, right? Because for me, for a very long time, I was like, oh my God, I hate avocado. I don't want guacamole. It's like, ooh, why would I eat that? Oh, yeah. And then I had avocado, and I was like, wow, this is bomb. Let me put this on some toast. Let me put this next to my eggs. Like, let's put it on a sandwich. Ooh, can it go in a salad? Like, avocado, everything, right? And some people really, really praise like not trying new things, right? Like, there are a lot of people who are like, same old me, since day one, whatever. But you have to try things. You have to take risks in order to grow and change, right? The only thing that is constant is change. And so if we're not changing, people often think that we're going to stay the same. But if you're not growing, you're actually reverting and becoming worse, right? So through trial and error, trying a bunch of different things, getting out of your environment, doing things that you may or may not like. Now, every book that I read, especially in Sacred Woman by Queen Afua, run this back, especially in this book, talks a lot about being in nature and being grounded. If you know me, you know that I don't like nature. I don't. Grass is not my thing. I don't like the bugs that hang out outside. Sunshine is cool from a distance, I'm just not an outside person, okay? However, when I spend time outside, when I spend time in nature, I get affected differently, right? Something changes within me. It's like my mind is illuminated. It's like I've shifted the patterns that I'm used to. And that's what you need in order to heal, in order to grow, in order to really get to know you. You have to interrupt the patterns that are already existing. So say, for example, I always say, like, every morning I drink a smoothie, right? I get my sea moss and my fruit and I do a smoothie. Usually like in the morning, like midday-ish. What have I been eating this week, y'all? If y'all been watching my stories, what have I been eating this week? How have I been starting my days? Nobody knows. Now they don't see my stories. Okay, that's fine. Been eating pancakes all week. Every day this week. 2 pancakes. 2 pancakes and a mimosa all week, right? Why? To interrupt the pattern. Before I was doing my smoothies, what would I eat? Oatmeal. Oatmeal and turkey bacon, right? But I recognize that I get comfortable in patterns, right? I get comfortable. And when you get comfortable is when you start to slip. When I start to think that every day is going to be the same, everything is going to flow how I want it to flow. I got my schedule. I got my agenda. This is what I'm doing. I don't allow room for miracles. I don't allow room for the universe to act on my behalf. I don't allow room for the divine to show up in any kind of way because I got my schedule, right? I don't need nothing else, right? And we stick to that. And sometimes our structure, being overly structured, could block our blessing, right? We don't allow ourselves to run at the top of the. I was telling somebody, now y'all know I have sort of paused my dating life just because it's weird and I don't like it. However, right, I was telling my friend, I was like, look, at this point, the next person I date would have to be the Amazon man because that's the only person that's going to come and knock at my door and find me here, right? So I'm limiting myself intentionally for the time being, but limiting myself, right? Because I can say all day, I want to meet somebody who, and then I don't go anywhere to meet people, right? Oh my gosh, I'm looking for a job in blank, and then I don't go looking for that job, right? Oh, I wish I could find blah, 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 but I don't put myself in the spaces where those things are possible because I'm so structured, right? I'm limiting myself in that structure, okay? You got to try something new. So my charge and my encouragement to you this week is to try something new. And now I don't mean like to improve upon something that you already did. If you go for a 2 mile hike, don't be like, oh, I went for a 3 mile hike this week. That was totally new. No, do something different. If you used to go on hiking, do Zumba this week. Okay? If you cook dinner every day, fast. I don't know.
Check 1, 2.
Do something different. Okay? Something different. That's what you're going to do this week. Something different to help you uncover who you are. The other thing is, yeah, my fan is so sad. It's not working. I'm just over here sweating. The other thing is, in order to, in this book, The Energetic Boundaries, she talks a lot about really knowing your own energy in your space. So spending time with people and then spending time alone is going to help you understand what your natural energy property is, right? A lot of people I know, and I don't drink coffee, but people swear by coffee. And most people might say, I don't start my day without coffee. Well, then how do you know who you are in the morning? What is uncaffeinated you, right? Because people are like, oh my God, I just can't start my day without coffee. I gotta have my coffee. I have 2 cups. I gotta go to Starbucks. I gotta whatever, right? Because you don't even allow yourself 10 minutes to sit with yourself. I was telling my friend about this, telling my friend this the other day. It's like, you wake up and you smoke. The first thing you do in the morning is grab a blunt. How do you even know what your mood is? Oh, well, I smoke because it calms me down. You don't even know if you're like angry, aggressive yet, right? You know if you're naturally calm when you wake up, because that's the very first thing that you do, right? So we have all of these things that supposedly help our mood. We think they're improving our mood. Oh my gosh, I feel so much better after I have my coffee, but you don't know how you feel all on your own, right? Coffee, alcohol, drugs, all kind of stimulants that we take, right? All of our vitamins and stuff like that so that we can feel good and natural, right? But we don't know how we naturally feel, right? We don't know how we naturally feel. I didn't take seriously that I had anxiety until I spent a lot of time with myself, right? Unstimulated. Like I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't like, playing rap music. I was just with myself, right? And I started to shake and I didn't know what was happening. I was like having a panic attack. And I was like, oh shit, like what is going on with me, right? I learned that I didn't understand how to control my anxiety because I never just really faced it head on. If I started to feel uneasy or I think I had an attitude or whatever, it's like I need to go and grab something, right? If I have a headache, right? Oh, I need to go take a pill. Instead of sitting with myself to be like, you know what? What might be the source of this headache? Where do I feel this pressure, this pain, this throbbing, right? Really just sitting with myself and figuring that out. Allowing myself to be uncomfortable in those moments instead of always looking for a fix, right? I talked about this a couple weeks ago about staying in the moment. If I'm sad, instead of saying, oh no, I'm fine, I'm unbothered, I'm a savage, I don't care, whatever, I'm gonna be like, no, why am I mad about that? Like, what am I angry about? And I'm gonna sit with that feeling until I figure it out or the feeling passes, right? Because I don't want to just walk around being angry about something that has already passed. But if I don't deal with my feelings, then that's going to keep coming up. And I'm going to end up being angry at people that I'm really not angry with because I'm really angry with myself because I haven't dealt with that emotion. So I got to figure it out, right? And part of figuring out is not me blaming other people. It's not me looking for an escape all the time, although I think it's important to escape from some things sometimes because everybody needs a break and we need to recharge and refuel. But it's me just dealing with those issues. Yeah, if you're happy, you're happy. If you're sad, you're sad. You got to feel it. You got to feel it in that moment. And allowing ourselves to be happy, right? Like I said last week or in my podcast, like oftentimes we think like, oh, if I'm happy, then something must be wrong. Like this is too good to be true. But I'm learning to start accepting things as true, right? Like if I'm happy, I'm gonna be very happy. I'm gonna be happy in that moment, right? And I'm not gonna be there and be happy and be like, oh man, I remember that one time I was happy, then all of a sudden something happened and I got sad, and now I'm sad again thinking about something that happened in the past, right? And I think that could be very true of of everything, like in my work situation, right? So y'all know I don't work for anybody anymore, but back when I did, I would have these issues, like issues would come up like, damn, like the same thing happened in my last job. And this is what happened, and this is how I felt, and this is what I did. Or like even in past relationships, like I was saying to myself this week, I want to figure out how to, what's the word I'm looking for? How to reclaim my joy, right? Because you all have had friendships, relationships, whatever, and you've shared things with people, right? And then whatever happens, you end that relationship with that person, and now you feel like, damn, like I can't have that thing, I can't share that thing. Like, oh my God, we used to go to Jamba Juice every Tuesday, and I can't go to Jamba Juice anymore. Or, oh, he used to love pepperoni pizza, so I'm not gonna have pizza anymore, right? And while that may sound crazy, I know I'm not the only person that does that, okay? And it can become a little crazy and a little obsessive because then you stop finding joy in the things that actually make you happy. And so this week I wrote in my journal that I want to reclaim my joy. I want to figure out how to enjoy things that I once enjoyed without the veil, the burden, the shadow of these other people that are no longer connected to me, right? Like there are TV shows that I used to watch, places I used to go, things that I used to really enjoy that I have since stopped enjoying because I'm no longer connected to that person, and I don't want to reopen a wound or re-engage with those feelings of sadness, betrayal, upset, despair, disgust that I experienced with that person, right? So I said to myself, how do I do that? How do I get back to that, right? I've had to stop myself, right? I would be in a new relationship with somebody or experiencing joy in something, and I would say to myself, this reminds me of relationship number whatever, right? When this person made me happy, and then all of a sudden they switched up on me, right? So now I'm on the defense. And now instead of enjoying this new person or enjoying that moment, I'm thinking 4 relationships ago when my heart got broken, right? Instead of being in the moment or even like meeting a new friend and saying, wow, I really vibe with this person and have good energy. I'm really feeling it. We're like, this person's going to betray me like my other friend. Oh, I can't be honest with this person because when I was honest with that person, this is what happened, right? And these are the little games that we play in our mind and trick ourselves into believing that we can't be happy, to trick ourselves into believing that we need external sources and outside forces in order to make us whole and complete, right? We trick ourselves into believing that happiness just can't come from us. In fact, people have said, I was talking to a friend about this week. She was saying that, she's been working out a lot. She's been, now things are back open. Like she likes to dance, so she's been going to dance classes, this and that. And she said that, people come up to her and be like, oh, you must, have a new man or, something, right? And she's like, well, what if I'm just happy and enjoying life? What if I've finally gotten a place in my career where I feel like I can excel and be successful? What if, now that I'm eating healthier, I just feel good about myself and my body and my aura is shining and penetrating and shedding light? What about that? Right? We think we got to have something to have those things. So my first challenge to y'all is to do something different this week. My second challenge to y'all is to really sit with yourself and isolate and separate your feelings. Figure out what it is you feel. What does your pure and natural energy feel like? Pure and natural. No caffeine, no drugs, no alcohol, no stimulants, no protein powders. Who are you naturally? You. For some of y'all, this might mean, not wearing makeup this week. See your natural face. Alicia Keys did it first where she was like, I'm not going to wear makeup. I'm just going to show myself. And she did. And it made other people uncomfortable. I'm not sure it made her uncomfortable, but it definitely made other people feel uncomfortable that she was not covering herself, right? Because you want to know what you look like in the mirror. I see like a lot of women, and I follow like a lot of makeup pages, nail pages, obviously. beauty pages, and a lot of women will post pictures, be like, oh, me natural or me no filter, but you still have these thick eyelashes, right? You still have like, other stuff, and a lot of these no filter pics really be like with natural makeup, but whatever. But you still have these other things that aren't innate and natural to you. Okay, so y'all gonna do something different this week. Y'all gonna spend time isolating and getting in touch with your feelings. The other thing about really knowing who you are is really owning up to your story. Now, this is the hard part, y'all, because I told y'all last week, like, I was struggling with forgiveness. I was struggling with, and not so much forgiving other people, but forgiving myself, because I just don't want to feel like I'm wrong, right? And I always tell myself, like, I can never be wrong when I'm doing what's best for me. But then I have to question if all of my decisions have really been me doing what's best for me. Or have I been making decisions just because I was scared of the consequences of making other decisions? Or have I made decisions in a rush, in a panic, because I didn't trust myself to give myself time to do the right thing, right? And that has been hard for me. And so I'm not going to say it's going to be hard for you, but I'm just telling you it has been hard for me to figure out if I have done those things, right? If I've really done those things, have I really trusted myself, right? What do I really want? Owning and accepting my past, because I don't want to go back. I don't want to do that. But I have to own and accept my past so that I can move forward in my future. So to say to myself, like, okay, not where I went wrong, but to be honest and say, okay, what happened? And often what I remember happening is not exactly what happened. Because sometimes I remember it in my favor. Like, these people did me wrong. And the whole time it was me. Right? Maybe you're the type of person that you naturally are hard on yourself and you beat yourself up and you're like, I did this wrong. I'm a terrible person. Maybe you're a perfectionist, whatever. Okay? So maybe it might be hard for you to accept what is and say, you know what, that had nothing to do with me and that wasn't my fault, right? My book club recently read the 4 agreements, and we learned one of the agreements is to not take anything personally. People who are perfectionists take everything personally, right? Let's say you and I are working on a project and I get sick, right? You as a perfectionist will say, damn, I should have checked in with Brandy more. I should have brought her water instead of bringing her that coffee. Why didn't I ask if she needed some vitamins, right? Damn, I could have made her healthy, right? That's the perfectionist in you. You take on the weight of everybody's problems because you got to make it right and you got to make it perfect. The opposite of that is you take no responsibility, right? The extreme opposite is that you take no responsibility and it's everybody else's fault. Somewhere in the middle there is the truth. And we got to get closer to the truth by spending time with ourselves and unpacking our story, okay? So in this book, Energetic Boundaries, she talks about uncovering your story and what that is and what that looks like. So in order to really do anything, heal your inner child, move forward in your life, experience true and genuine happiness, you got to unpack your story. So what I have been doing and what I would suggest you all to do too is to journal this week. I know, I always say journal, I always say meditate. It all comes back to that. Simple shit. Do the work. Journal this week specifically about your story. If you had to tell the story of who you actually are and the experiences that have shaped your thinking and your way of being, what would you say? And I want you to limit yourself, right? I'm writing a book about my life. That doesn't mean you need to write one about yours. That's not what this is for. Give yourself 4 pages to tell your story. And if you say, oh my God, I can't tell my whole life story in 4 pages, then you're definitely tripping on some things that are not important. Focus in, right? 4 pages. Who are you and what are the unique life experiences that have brought you to where you are? Because what happens in a lot of people's lives, like we think we have all of these different experiences. Like, oh my God, my life is so different. I've gone through so much. And really we're reliving the same 30 experiences because we haven't learned a lesson, or we get trapped in a pattern, or we're just stuck and that's just who we are. Like part of this book, it talks about what's it called? Boundary syndromes. Okay, one of the boundary syndromes is called the paper doll syndrome. Basically, where you keep encountering the same experience, the same person over and over again. I don't know if you ever done the paper doll thing where you fold a bunch of pieces of paper together and you cut like the person out and then you have the string of dolls. Y'all done that before? Kindergarten stuff, school stuff. Should say kindergarten because you could do it at any level. I definitely done it in high school for kids that were getting on my nerves. But the paper doll syndrome. So we think like, oh my God, like I was saying about my job experience. Like I keep running into the same problem at work, and that these people are getting on my nerves, and I feel like I'm more qualified than the people who are leading me in this organization. And I keep hopping from school, job, organization. I'm encountering the same thing. Paper doll syndrome, right? I haven't dealt with the issue, the block that I have, so I keep encountering the same thing. Now, they may look different. They might be named different. They might be called different, but I keep encountering the same thing. And so a lot of times when I ask people, when I'm coaching people and ask them about their life experience, what's holding you back? What are the barriers? Where are you getting stuck? Oh my God, it's so much. And it really just be one thing, right? Oh, well, this happened and this happened and that happened. And they haven't sat and unpacked those situations to recognize that all these situations are very similar. Oh, this happened and you did what? Right? Because as I'm talking to people, I'm writing it down. It's very easy to see when you write it down because you see it on paper. You're like, these things connect together, which is why you got to write, journal. And you don't have to have do traditional journaling. Sometimes I literally journal on Post-it notes. I have something on my mind and I write it down. I go get some paper on my copy machine and I fold it in 4 squares and I just start writing stuff. What do I feel? What do I want to feel? Why do I feel this way? How can I change, whatever, and I'll just write it out. So however you need to write it out or journal, but you need to write it out because that's going to get you back to and get you closer to who you are at your core. And you have to really strip down all of these other things to get back to you. And if I would have known, people have asked me and will ask me questions like, what is something you would say to your younger self? Ignore everybody. Ignore them and do your thing. With their reason, don't go out and hurt yourself. But ignore people when they try to tell you who you are. Ignore people when they're trying to change you. Ignore people when they say what they don't like about you. If somebody doesn't like something about you, it doesn't mean that you need to change it. It just means that that person doesn't like that about you. I wish I would have known that when I was younger because I spent a lot of years trying not to be me because I thought something was wrong with me because other people told me that something was, if that makes sense. And I didn't need to do that. I needed to focus on and just be who I was because that's what I'm doing now. And I'm happy doing that. Yeah. So, 3 tasks. 1, you're going to do something different this week. You're going to take a risk and do something completely new or different. Doesn't matter if you do it well. In fact, try not to do it well. But, do your thing. The second thing you're going to do is you are going to, what was the second thing? But the second thing is you're going to separate your emotions. You're going to feel what you feel and figure out what you feel and be articulate about your feelings. Right? What are you feeling in these moments? What are you feeling towards things, this and that? And then the third thing is you are going to do some writing, whether you call it journaling, brainstorming, sketching, whatever. 4 pages max. What is your story and the experiences that have shaped you? And when we come back next Sunday, I want to know. I want to bring y'all on to the live and I want to know what y'all have done and what y'all have talked about. And everything that I'm asking y'all and sharing with y'all to do, I'm doing it myself. And I'm going to share that with y'all as well. Y'all have questions? If you want to come back to this, hold on, y'all. If you want to come back to this and see it later, it will be on my Patreon. And you can go to patreon.com/BrandyWasHere and check it out. And there's a bunch of other stuff there too. Like I said, I'm going to post a couple of blog posts of things that I've been writing just to let y'all know, kind of what's been on my mind and me sorting through my feelings and stuff like that. And then also a post just about like what's been going on with my life and business, because y'all know I have been transitioning now for a couple of months, with the move, with my job, just with everything. And so I want to share that with y'all too. And that's there. And then, like I said, if you want to join the book club, you can do that there. The list of things would be there. Yes, the list of things of the questions that I asked, what I want y'all to do this week. Yes, that would be there as well. Your wisdom, what's the best way to support me? Patreon. You can become a patron for $5 a month or more, depending on the level of access you want in the tiers. But that is the best way. Eventually, y'all, I am driving myself really to like be off of social media, just because I'm sure you guys read and learn, and you guys know all the stuff. Social media is just like it's just not a good place for people. As much as I love Instagram, I'm trying to keep my business off of Instagram, because Instagram is seeking ways to monetize from creatives and business owners, and also to take your content, which is why you guys know I haven't been posting a lot of, I do these lives, but I don't post them on IGTV, mainly because what Instagram is doing now for creatives that go live, if you go live enough, then they have like this whole badge system and people could buy badges. But what Instagram doesn't tell you is that, they're taking a large and hefty percentage out of that. And then if you post on IGTV, Instagram has the right to own some of your content. So I haven't been keeping stuff there, which is why everything's on my Patreon. So if you want to support me, you could become a patron. You can also go to my website. You can buy something from my shop. I have on my What Would Brandy Do tee today, and support the podcast. I'm starting to record next week. I'm starting to record episodes for season 3. Season 2 is done. Thank you for being a part of that journey. I'm starting to record episodes for season 3. So I'm excited, nervous. I got a lot of work ahead of me. So, check me out. Love, support me. If y'all want to text me too, I'm going to put that in my stories. Y'all can text me. I'm going to have some really good conversations via text. So hit me up. But thanks, y'all. Have a good Sunday.